A common criticism of the null hypothesis significance test is that it does not answer the question that we want it to answer. If this is true, then that reflects a problem either with the answer that the null hypothesis significance test can give, the questions we ask with it, or the way we use it to answer our questions. The null hypothesis significance test does answer a question. It will tell you if an effect is non-zero. It will not tell you the direction of that effect, nor will it tell you the magnitude of the relationship. But, under a number of assumptions, the null hypothesis tells you if a difference exists beyond what would be expected by random variation. Many psychological questions, however, seek to explain and predict human experience, consciousness. The null can contribute to the answer to this question, but it cannot answer it consummately. There are non-zero effects that are indeed non-zero, but do not reach a certain threshold to be noticeable. The effects exist, but are not perceivable in people's experience. Many variables that are important for defining human experience and the natural world are continuous variables. Real numbers are continuous. It is easier to think about predicting human experience by thinking about whether or not someone experiences a discrete event. But with continuous variables, we must assume that they exist to some degree. If you want to predict a human's experience of a continuous variable, then you need to first identify what target value or state of that variable is desired. When trying to predict a particular state of a continuous variable, the null hypothesis can give us a binary decision as to whether or not a particular relationship is worth pursuing in our model of human experience. To actually predict human experience, however, you have to go one step further and leave the null hypothesis significance test behind. The effect size will tell us how much the outcome variable will change with a 1-unit change in the predictor. We can assign a probability of observing that much change, and we can predict specific values. But these things are simply not a part of the null hypothesis significance test. Another question the null hypothesis significance test cannot tell us is whether there is any value of your system for human experience. If the just noticeable difference of an intermediate outcome is nonetheless too small to create a sufficient change in that outcome to reach the target value of your final outcome, then your model is not going to be something that humans experience. But this has nothing to do with the null. The null hypothesis has been left behind. That's okay. It is content with it. As long as we let the null hypothesis significance test answer what it can answer, then it is good. There's nothing wrong with the null. The only problem is our use of the null. The question to ponder is, what question do you want to answer? How can the statistical tools that you have help you achieve that goal? Let's think about this while focusing on your breath, visuals, the sounds, or some combination of these things. Thank you for joining me for this meditation.